If you're a man that is about to hit that precocious moment where you are finally liberated from female nature, there's going to be a drawing of conclusions that you're going to have to come to, and there's going to be a analysis that you're going to have that can only really be implemented by experience or by somebody else telling you about it. You're not going to know about it any other way. And there's no other way to really know about it, I suppose, either. But when it comes to understanding why women are manipulating you, or they're trying to manipulate you, and you catch them and you stand your ground, and they're almost disinterested, they're almost losing their attraction for you, you can be certain that this woman was only interested in using you, or she just had low self-esteem. It's not always the case that a woman manipulates a man out of this form of discrepancy or delusion, or just straight up manipulative assertions of dominance and wanting to control men. It's more about how she doesn't have a healthy self of who she is and a healthy image of who she is inside of herself. And so women will reject you when you are not manipulated and not easily manipulated, because you can see through it. And women that are fake can't really be around men that are real, and vice versa. Women that are real can't really be around men that are fake. It's just not going to co-align and coalesce. However, it is the stark realization that you must have that if you are to be a real man, your options drastically decline. And if you're a real woman, you're also going to have your options drastically decline. Women that are good don't actually have as many options available to them as many men would like to think they do. And the same goes for men, for women. Men don't have as many great options. They have options, just like the hot chick has options. But how many good options? Nah, it's not really, there's not a lot to it. And I think this goes along the lines of how society in itself has almost turned its back on itself. And I think that there's a proclivity that many people have to maximize their comprehension or their desire to comprehend and minimize the uncertainties. However, it is also often the case that in that attempt to maximize their ability to comprehend and minimize their uncertainty, although that is a relatively okay trait to have, the framework in which you try to do that in is going to play a really important part of how you see the world. And it's going to play an important part of how far along you actually see yourself within situations. So for example, in my book, The Book of Oldishness, I talk about how there's PIMS, and there's going to be this stark fanatical realization, right? This realization that the framework, the PIM, a portrayal in mind, your portrayal in mind is not going to be, well, how do I say this? Your portrayal in mind is going to be entirely dependent upon the portrayal in which your mind is operating. So if you see the manipulation tactics of women and you think to yourself, this is all that there is, the relationship that you're going to have with your unconscious mind is going to be very poor. And you have to, in some ways, just keep the faith that there are good women out there. And men often get confused by women rejecting them. And especially when it comes to godly relationships, I've noticed men that are striving to build godly relationships have the most difficult time with building a relationship. Women who are godly, in my experience, from what I've seen, they can build relationships a lot easier. And it's not to say that the godly man has difficulty in the maintenance of a relationship, but it's about how, well, the man can maintain the relationship easier than he can create it. Whereas it's the vice versa for women. Women can create the relationship easier than it is for her to maintain it and to keep it. I think for a lot of men and women nowadays, the men have a more difficult time actually maintaining, they have a hard time keeping the relationships that they have intact and creating relationships through that. Whereas the women, they can get the relationships really easily and they can nurture the relationship, but to actually keep it is a difficult thing. And so for a lot of men and women, it's like this. But for, I would say, the godly men, they have a much more difficult time at creating relationships rather than sustaining them. And I think that that's very interesting. Whereas the godly women, I think it's also very similar. But I separate men and women and godly men and godly women because they're just not the same. And I don't think that it's to say that one's like bad. Okay, I don't really see people as bad, but I do see people as malevolent or their behaviors as reprehensible or contemptuous. I find a lot of people's behaviors worthy of contempt, but I don't necessarily believe that it's the responsibility of the person who has contempt for such a behavior to rectify or to change that behavior. I don't think that's right at all. I think you can be seeing it from a distance and acknowledging it for what it is and etc. But to try to change that, it's in my experience, you can't really help somebody unless they're willing to acknowledge that they cannot be helped, and they need help now. Like they're like, okay, I've gone through this. I cannot get help here. I cannot get help there. This is it. And of course, God is going to be your first and should be. I don't like saying the word should, though. People that know me, watch this channel, they know that I don't like the word should, but it's important for you to recognize that if you are in a relationship with someone as a godly person, it is your duty, sacred duty, to maintain that relationship and to put the time and energy and resources into it as much as possible. And if you don't, even just saying this, I can feel somebody does not want me to hear this message. Like somebody does not want me to talk about this message. In fact, like I'm feeling there's a lot of people that are angry about this. They want to be angry too. They don't want to have forgiveness in their heart. That's what I'm kind of sensing right now, is there's a lot of people that do not know how to forgive. And there's a lot of people that are letting the frustration of their maybe lack or feeling of lack in their life cloud their judgment and cloud their, well, the truth, really. I was going to say their truth, but I don't believe in, oh, it's my truth or your truth. No, there's the truth and then there are falsehoods. There's no really in between. There is right and there is wrong. I like that. I like knowing that there's right and wrong in the world. Okay, I like that. I don't think that if you do wrong, you're bad, per se. But yes, there are some behaviors that are reprehensible. No doubt about it. And there is evil that exists, but I don't think that that person, unless they've sold their soul, is bad. Okay, I don't believe in that. Not at all. And so women will reject godly men specifically because they know that they cannot manipulate these kinds of men, and because if they ever found out about who they really were, it wouldn't last anyway. I mean, I've had women straight up lie to me, and I see through it, and I act like I don't know that they just lied to me, and I just kind of maneuver backward, and they get frustrated, they get upset, they don't know what happened. They want to know. They want to know why. Well, what did you do? Why did you do that? Why did you leave me? Why did you stop talking to me? I'm confused. I need closure. Let me tell you something. This is like dark spirituality, I guess you could say. As a man, one of your strongest abilities is to leave a woman wondering what she did wrong and not knowing why. She will think about that for a long time. I still have women that I know for a fact they're thinking about why I did not pursue them. Why did I say that we are not compatible romantically? I know for a fact because they're still expressing interest in me to this day. And I don't really see that as a flex. Okay, I don't see that as something to like, oh yeah, I still have women it's actually kind of sad because they had potential. And I'm the kind of person that I want to see the potential in people. I want to see the good in people because I see the good in life. Life is so beautiful. Life is so amazing. Life is so powerful. And yet there are so many people that it's just too bad, man. Like, it's just too bad. Like, it's a shame. Like, this person had so much potential and she just decided to throw it away because she had no sense of control over herself. Like, you can tell these kinds of women. You can tell. And even the ones that you might think are good and modest, I've had women that were pissed at me. I mean, literally, one of the women that I rejected, she tried to re-reject. Is that a thing? She tried to re-reject me by trying to get me, involved with the cops and trying to get me arrested. It's just the way that it is. And this woman was older than me. She had a family, okay? She was married. And when I found out about it, that's when I walked away from the situation. And she got upset because she wanted to monkey branch. She wanted the monkey branch. I mean, she was putting on a great show. I mean, I'm talking like a great show. Man, she was good. Man, she was like, some of these women, they do deserve Oscars. They deserve, man. They deserve all those acting awards and whatnot. Holy crap. They can be very, very convincing. And when you see that, when you see through it, because if you're some man that thinks that you can't get got by anybody, especially a woman, guess what? The devil's coming for you, man. The devil's coming for you. And I know because I've literally seen it happen in my own life where I'm like, I'm walking with Jesus. I'm walking with, nothing bad can happen to me. Nothing crazy can happen to me. Oh, yes, it can. Oh, yes, it can. You may have seen everything, but you haven't seen what you haven't seen before. And I swear, even to this day, I'm learning things that are new about certain things in regard to heterosexual dynamics. Even though I know the absolute basics and I've helped people develop biblical relationships, godly relationships with my one-on-one sessions, and I've helped people maintain those relationships, I've never gotten to a point where I knew that I knew everything. Like, I've felt like I've seen everything, but I knew that I didn't know everything. But even then, like, that's still a slippery slope. And if you think you can't get got, then good freaking luck, man, because you will be humbled. You will be humbled. And I look back kind of like in terror because I know exactly what happened. I know exactly what I've seen. And women don't like it. They'll do anything to make it seem like they're the ones that have the high ground and the moral ground. if they are not godly women, which many of them are not, which is like 90% of them, I swear. So maybe even more. And so 90% of the women that I've talked to, at least, yeah, nah, they will do anything to make it seem like you're the bad guy. It's just the way that it is. And you have to accept that. You know, like that's sometimes why it's better to let a woman feel like if you're a man that knows you're being manipulated, or she's like trying to manipulate you rather, and you're like, okay, what's actually happening here? And you like allow it to happen just to see what's going on, and then you like break away, but you make her think that like she's the one doing the breaking away. Sometimes that's the best option, because if you're the one that's like, oh, I see through this, oh boy, you just started a game that you cannot win. You cannot win that game, buddy. You cannot win. Just make sure to recognize it for what it is and walk away from the situation. But anyways, I hope this message was useful and insightful for you. All right, you know, be mindful out there, be careful, but also don't be overthinking about this kind of stuff either. Like it's not something to overthink about, but it's something to take note of. All right. So peace be with you. Until next time.